Today is March 1st. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Chapter 4, We Agnostics. We are reading page 48 today. Out of the 12 and 12, we are on Step 7. We'll read page 71. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. Man, it's March 1st already. Jeez. I'm not saying, this isn't like Groundhog's Day or anything like that, or nobody's seen their shadow today, but, March always makes me think, well, this is starting to be the beginning of the end of winter here. But then again, I got to thinking, in the South, the blizzard of 93 in the States, if you know, you know. That was, I can't remember the exact day in March, but I do remember it was in March. And we felt it all the way up into Jersey, I believe, in 93 as well. And quick side note, my wife would kill me for this, but we were supposed to get a pretty nasty snowstorm not too long ago. And my wife and I, we were looking at the radar and we're like, oh, it's moving just like the blizzard of 93. And well, needless to say, we got maybe a dusting. After we panic bought at Walmart beforehand. So, that was a lesson in humility, right? You just never know. And expectations, I got to watch that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading, we were talking about prejudices and trying to keep that open mind as we go about this whole spiritual journey. And that I love, it was a couple of pages ago that this whole process is all inclusive, never exclusive. There's plenty of room to spare for different beliefs here where we can still have an spiritual experience or awakening. So we are on the bottom of page 47 and we'll read 48. Besides a seeming inability to accept much on faith, we often found ourselves handicapped by obstinacy, sensitiveness, and unreasoning prejudice. Many of us have been so touchy that even casual reference to spiritual things made us bristle with antagonism. This sort of thinking had to be abandoned. Though some of us resisted, we found no great difficulty in casting aside such feelings. Faced with alcohol destruction, we soon became as open-minded on spiritual matters as we had tried to be on other questions. In this respect, alcohol was a great persuader. It finally beat us into a state of reasonableness. Sometimes this was a tedious process. We hope no one else will be as prejudiced for as long as some of us were. The reader may still ask why he should believe in a power greater than himself. We think there are some good reasons. Let us have a look at some of them. The practical individual of today is a stickler for facts and results. Nevertheless, the 20th century readily accepts theories of all kinds, provided they're firmly grounded in fact. We have numerous theories, for example, about electricity. Everybody believes them without a murmur of doubt. Why this ready acceptance? Simply because it is impossible to explain what we see, feel, direct, and use without a reasonable assumption as a starting point. Everybody nowadays believes in scores of assumptions for which there's good evidence, but no perfect visual proof. And does not science demonstrate that visual proof is the weakest proof? It is being constantly revealed, as mankind studies the material world, that outward appearances are not inward reality at all. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. Page 71. Certainly no alcoholic, and surely no member of AA, wants to deprecate material achievement. Nor do we enter into debate with many who still so passionately cling to the belief that to satisfy our basic natural desires is the main object of life. But we are sure that no class of people in the world ever made a worse mess of trying to live by this formula than alcoholics. For thousands of years, we've been demanding more than our share of security, prestige, and romance. When we seemed to be succeeding, we drank to dream still greater dreams. When we were frustrated, even in part, we drank for oblivion. Never was there enough of what we thought we wanted. In all these strivings, so many of them well-intentioned, our crippling handicap had been our lack of humility. We had lacked a perspective to see that character building and spiritual values had to come first, and that material satisfactions were not the purpose of living. Quite characteristically, we'd gone all out in confusing the ends with the means. Instead of regarding the satisfaction of our material desires as the means by which we could live and function as human beings, we'd taken these satisfactions to be the final end and aim of life. "24 hours a day, March 1st. AA thought for the day. When I find myself thinking about taking a drink, I say to myself, don't reach out and take that problem back. You've given it to God, and there is nothing you can do about it. So I forget about the drink. One of the most important parts of the AA program is to give our drinking problem to God honestly and fully, and never to reach out and take the problem back to ourselves. If we let God have it and keep it for good, and then cooperate with Him, we'll stay sober. Have I determined not to take the drinking problem back to myself? Meditation for the day. Constant effort is necessary if I am to grow spiritually and develop my spiritual life. I must keep the spiritual rules persistently, perseveringly, lovingly, patiently, and hopefully. By keeping them, every mountain of difficulty shall be laid low. The rough places of poverty of spirit shall be made smooth. And all who know me shall know that God is the Lord of all my ways. To get close to the Spirit of God is to find life and healing and strength. Prayer for the day. I pray that God's Spirit may be everything to my soul. I pray that God's Spirit may grow within me. Daily Reflection, March 1st. It works. It works. It really does. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 88. When I got sober, I initially had faith only in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Desperation and fear kept me sober, and maybe a caring and/or tough sponsor helped. Faith in higher power came much later. This faith came slowly at first, after I began listening to others share at meetings about their experiences that I had never faced sober, but that they were facing with strength from a higher power. Out of their sharing came hope that I too would and could get a higher power. In time, I learned that a higher power, a faith that works under all conditions, is possible. Today, this faith, plus the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to work the steps of the program, give me the serenity that I seek. It works. It really does. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading and some beautiful stuff. Oh, that daily reflection, man, hits me hard. When I came into the rooms, I just wanted to stop drinking. I had no idea all the beautiful things that I would gain. As I'm recording this, I think I talked about this once before, a dear friend of mine who I consider my AA dad, he gave me a Christmas gift. And he knows I'm a Christian, and he gave me this cross. And carved in the cross is this arm that's reaching down from the top of it to a man. and the man's grabbing onto that arm and reaching down with his other arm at what looks like this person who's kind of stuck in quicksand that's sinking, right? And when I look at that, I think about us as sober alcoholics. Just like the 12 and 12 said here today on 71, we lacked the perspective to see that the character building and spiritual values had to come first, and that material satisfactions were not the purpose of living. When I look at that cross and I look at that carving, I see recovery all over it. When I came into the rooms, I wanted to stop drinking. I had no idea that I would gain a relationship with my higher power that I could have never dreamed of. And it sounds like a fairy tale, but it's not. It's actually been very practical for me. I worked these steps, which were very practical, kind of easy to understand steps. I just had to be honest, open-minded, and willing to try it, right? And I was desperate enough to try it. But then having had the spiritual awakening as the result of doing these steps, now I can reach down to that friend that's in quicksand, right? Of alcoholism and addiction. And when I look at the tangible evidence in my life, it's the little things. Like, I no longer beat myself up like I used to. I still do it sometimes, but not near like I used to. I no longer look in the mirror and hate who I see. I can be okay with somebody not liking me. I was like George Costanza in Seinfeld. Everybody must like me, How could you not like, that's how I was. Now I'm okay. Hey, if you don't like me, that's your business. It's okay. I don't have to change who I am and put on this hat for this situation or put on this mask for this person. I don't have to do that anymore. I used to look back on my life, and I believe I've shared this before. Ever since third grade, I wanted to be a writer. And all throughout that time, I even took a year off from my normal career to spend that time writing, and I wrote as much as I could. And I remember after that year looking at everything I wrote and thinking, this sucks. I'm a failure. For a long time, I would always dwell on the thing I wasn't doing. But now I look back on my life and I realized that my higher power, he had something else in store for me, at least for now. And that's to help other people. And now I look back on my life and I'm excited. Like this has become a passion of mine to do this podcast. And I mean, it's helping me probably more than it's helping anybody out there. But this is, I guess what the big book says, this has been a beautiful example of a primary purpose that I can carry out in my life to help the next suffering alcoholic. And I gained a family. We were told we could never have children, and I have children, I have a family in the fellowship I never thought I'd have. I am so thankful just to be alive and sober today. And if you are sober, my friend, I hope you realize that you're a miracle and you have a unique gift to help the next suffering alcoholic out there, or just anybody else for that matter. So use that superpower, because we've been given a second chance. It's a beautiful thing. And if you are not sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well, and that you are worthy of recovery, and your story is not done yet. This next chapter is just beginning. I just pray that you would get the help that you need today, and you don't have to do it alone. But as always, my friends, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect. I am just a joyful drunk, happy to be here today. And thank you so much. There's so many I can name, but thank you so much for the little comments on Spotify and the emails that I've received. It really is so cool to hear your sober stories, and it just bolsters my faith, and it just adds more tangible evidence to the pile that my higher power is real and he is working. And that this program is pretty darn amazing and perhaps even maybe divinely inspired. But my friends, if we were given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.